If you walk into a doctor's office crying, they know exactly how to help you.
Right, the whole system is built for that.
Exactly. The tissues come out, the sympathetic nods begin, all the standard protocols are triggered. But what happens if you walk into that same office and say you feel absolutely nothing at all?
It creates a massive glitch in the system, to be honest.
Yeah.
Our medical frameworks, and honestly our cultural frameworks too, are built to respond to active distress. They're just not built to measure a vacuum.
And that vacuum is exactly what we are focusing on today. Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Glad to be here to get into this with you.
Yeah, so for you listening, our mission today is to explore a set of clinical overviews and service materials from coping and healing counseling, or CHC.
They're a telehealth therapy practice based out of Georgia, right?
Right, Georgia. And their clinical materials shed light on this diagnostic blind spot that leaves just countless people suffer in plain sight. So, okay, let's unpack this. Today, we are exploring a condition known as anhedonia.
To set the stakes for you right out of the gate, we really have to completely dismantle what we think we know about mental health struggles.
We really do.
When you hear that someone is dealing with depression or, the aftermath of trauma, the immediate cultural assumption is profound sadness.
Like deep emotional agony.
Exactly. We picture people just breaking down. But anhedonia isn't agony. It's the absolute experience of nothingness.
Yeah.
It's an emotional void.
A void. I mean, that word perfectly captures the imagery in the source material we're looking at.
It really does.
It describes a condition where the color literally drains from your world. It's when your favorite meal, like the one you used to crave, suddenly tastes like wet cardboard.
Yeah, or putting on a song that used to reliably give you goosebumps and you feel nothing.
Right. Or it's looking at a text from your best friend and realizing you simply cannot summon the baseline physiological energy to type a reply.
And that distinction, that's the fundamental crux of the issue here.
Mm-hmm.
The text emphasizes that anhedonia is characterized by flatness, not pain. Right. Because when we talk about pain, we are talking about a highly active state. Hurt is active. Grief requires an immense amount of neurological energy.
It's exhausting.
It is. But flatness is the total absence of that active state.
I'm trying to visualize this for everyone. It kind of makes me think about a television screen.
Okay, I like where this is going.
If traditional depression is like being strapped to a chair and forced to watch a tragic, heartbreaking movie on a loop.
Where you're just overwhelmed by the sensory input of sadness. Yeah.
Right. But Anhedonia isn't a sad movie at all. Anhedonia is walking into your living room and realizing the television is completely unplugged.
Wow. Yeah, there's no picture.
There's no sound. There's just a blank gray screen.
What's fascinating here is why this specific symptom goes unnamed for so long, both by the patients experiencing it and by the people living with them.
Because we don't look for the gray screen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because as a society, we carry around this very specific crying in bed picture of depression. It's like the only template we have.
Yeah.
So when someone is just feeling profoundly flat, when they feel like that unplugged TV you just described, they don't even realize they're experiencing a clinical symptom.
They just think, well, I'm not crying all the time.
Right. They say, I'm not having a panic attack, so I guess I'm not depressed.
Yeah.
I guess this hollow feeling is just how life is now.
They normalize the nothingness.
Totally.
Because they don't have the vocabulary to identify it as an actual mechanical breakdown. But the sources don't just stop at defining this nothingness. They actually break it down neurobiologically.
Yes, which is so important.
Because anhedonia isn't just one monolithic block of flat emotion, is it? Clinicians actually have to figure out exactly where the breakdown in the pleasure process is occurring.
Exactly. The clinical literature identifies two highly distinct forms of this condition. You have consummatory anhedonia, and you have motivational anhedonia.
Okay, let's break those down. What's the consummatory one?
So consummatory anhedonia is the inability to enjoy a thing while it is actively happening. It's a failure in the brain's liking pathway.
The liking pathway. Okay.
Right, so you go to the concert, you are standing in the crowd, the music is playing, the lights are flashing, and you feel absolutely zero joy. The pleasure centers just do not light up in response to the stimulus.
Okay, so if consummatory means I can't enjoy the concert once I'm there, what happens if I can't even get myself to buy the ticket in the first place?
Yeah.
Like, is that a completely different failure point?
It is a completely different failure point, and that is what we call motivational anhedonia. This is the inability to get yourself to start the activity.
So the breakdown happens before the event even begins.
Exactly. In a healthy brain, there is a surge of anticipatory dopamine.
Like a little spark.
Right, that little spark of chemical energy that tells your brain, hey, going for a walk will feel good, let's put on our shoes. In motivational anhedonia, that anticipatory spark is just gone.
Wow.
The wanting pathway is totally offline, so you never put the shoes on.
Okay, I have to push back on this because I know what you listening might be thinking right now.
Lay it on me.
From the outside, in our hustle culture society, isn't not wanting to start something or not getting off the couch universally labeled as just laziness or procrastination?
It absolutely is, and it's a huge problem.
Right. Like, how does a clinician actually tell the difference between someone who is just burned out after a long week and someone who is suffering from clinical motivational anhedonia? Society is just incredibly quick to judge that behavior as a character flaw.
It's a vital distinction, and it's where the harm of that societal judgment really becomes dangerous. The difference lies in capacity versus choice.
Capacity versus choice?
Yes, laziness, as society defines it, implies a moral failing. It's a willful choice to avoid effort despite having the underlying machinery to do it.
Okay.
Motivational anhedonia, on the other hand, is a fundamental loss of neurological capacity. The engine that generates initiation is entirely out of gas.
It's not that they're choosing not to do the thing.
No, it's that the internal chemical bridge connecting intention to action has literally collapsed.
So to go back to our analogies earlier, if laziness is deciding you'd rather not drive your car today, motivational anhedonia is getting in, turning the key, and realizing the battery is completely dead.
I wouldn't call it a dead battery, actually.
Oh.
No, the energy might still be in the battery somewhere, but it's more like a broken starter motor.
Ah, a broken starter motor.
Yeah. The mechanism required to ignite that energy and turn it into forward momentum is just stripped. And clinically, this distinction dictates everything about treatment.
How so?
Well, as the source material points out, someone with a broken starter motor requires a completely different treatment scaffold than someone who initiates easily but feels nothing while doing it.
Because if a therapist gives homework to a client with motivational anhedonia and says, hey, I want you to go to an art museum this weekend.
They are setting that client up for inevitable failure.
Right, because the client lacks the initiation bridge to even get to the car.
Precisely. But someone with consummatory anhedonia, they might easily drive themselves to the museum, walk the entire floor, look at every single painting, and just feel completely hollow the entire time.
Wow.
Yeah, so you have to diagnose the exact location of the mechanical failure in the pleasure process before you can begin to repair it.
Here's where it gets really interesting in the text, though. The sources note that anhedonia is a recognized predictor of poorer treatment response.
It is, yeah.
Meaning, if you have this, standard treatments might not work as well or as quickly, which makes identifying it really just incredibly critical. You don't want to finally figure this out at week 8 of therapy.
And yet, it is consistently missed at intake.
Consistently.
Consistently.
Yeah.
Think about the standard medical pipeline. When a person first decides to seek help, they rarely sit down in the chair and declare, "Doctor, I have lost the capacity for pleasure."
Right. Nobody talks like that. That's clinical language.
Exactly. Instead, they say they're fine. They say they're tired. Or they say they just don't care about much anymore.
Oh, man, I'm just tired. That has to be the most common smokescreen in human history.
It is the ultimate smokescreen. And the flaw in our system is that standard medical screening tools, those 9-question forms you fill out on a clipboard in the waiting room,
Right.
they are heavily weighted toward outward signs of distress. They ask things like, how often have you cried this week? Or do you feel overwhelming sadness?
And if you're suffering from anhedonia, you just check no to all of those.
Yep. You aren't crying. You aren't overwhelmingly sad. You are flat.
So the form literally tells the doctor, this patient is fine, which allows the anhedonia to pass right under the radar.
It's like having a metal detector that is exclusively calibrated to look for gold, and you're walking through it with a pocket full of lead.
Wow, that's a great way to put it.
The machine doesn't beep, the lights don't flash, so the doctor assumes your pockets are empty. The instrument itself is just blind to what you're carrying.
If that metal detector is broken, how does anyone actually get a diagnosis before the starter motor completely fails?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the danger of missing it at intake goes way beyond just delaying treatment for depression.
Okay.
Anhedonia is a core symptom of major depressive disorder, yes. But assessment matters deeply because the root cause shapes the help. The sources highlight that anhedonia also appears in PTSD,
Oh, really?
Yeah, it appears in schizophrenia.
Mhm.
It is a massive precursor symptom in Parkinson's disease. It can even be an accidental side effect of certain medications.
Wait, wow. So anhedonia isn't just the disease itself. It's this incredibly complex warning light on the dashboard that could be pointing to a dozen completely different systemic engine failures.
Exactly. Let's look at the mechanics of why. In Parkinson's disease, for example, the neurons that produce dopamine are literally dying off.
And dopamine is the chemical driver of reward and motivation.
Right. So before the physical tremors even start, a patient might experience profound motivational anhedonia because their dopamine pathways are degrading.
That makes total sense. And what about PTSD?
In PTSD, the mechanism is entirely different. The nervous system has been so chronically overloaded by hypervigilance and trauma that it essentially pulls the emergency brake.
It just shuts down.
Yeah, it shuts down to protect itself, resulting in a flat, numbed-out state.
So if a clinician misses the anhedonia or just assumes it's standard depression, they might be missing early neurological signs of Parkinson's.
Yes.
Or completely misinterpreting the presentation of severe trauma in PTSD.
That is exactly why having a highly trained, licensed professional who knows how to look past the "I'm just tired" smokescreen is non-negotiable.
So what does this all mean for a treatment plan?
Good question.
We know anhedonia is dangerous. We know it predicts a poor response to standard care. We know standard intake clipboards are blind to it. And we know it requires a highly specific scaffold to treat.
Right.
How do patients actually get the help they need when their core symptom, especially in motivational anhedonia, literally strips them of the motivation to seek help in the first place?
Well, the clinical approaches outlined in the sources offer a very specific path forward. One of the primary tools is behavioral activation.
Behavioral activation.
Yes, but it's important to understand how this works. The goal isn't just to tell someone to go do something fun.
Hmm.
The therapist helps the client systematically rebuild that broken starter motor by breaking tasks down into microscopic, manageable steps.
Give me an example of a microstep. Like how microscopic are we talking?
If the goal is going for a walk, the first step isn't taking the walk. The first step might literally just be taking your shoes out of the closet and setting them at the front door.
That's it.
That's it. You don't even put them on. By successfully completing that tiny action, you are manually forcing a tiny drip of dopamine into the brain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, slowly retraining the neural pathways that govern anticipation and reward.
You're slowly jump-starting the pathway.
Exactly. Alongside that, they utilize cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, to help restructure the pervasive thoughts surrounding the nothingness.
Makes sense.
And crucially, they conduct a comprehensive medication review. Because like we discussed, if the anhedonia is actually a side effect of a pill you're taking for blood pressure or anxiety, no amount of behavioral activation will fix it until you adjust the chemistry.
But the text is very clear. You cannot just Google behavioral activation and DIY this in your living room.
Absolutely not.
You need a licensed clinician to map out the scaffold and sort out the root cause. And this is where the materials from coping and healing counseling really show how this is handled structurally.
Yes, it's not just about what happens in the therapy session.
Right. It's about how the practice itself is built to catch people who are falling through the cracks.
Exactly. If we look at their clinical makeup, CHC maintains a diverse, culturally competent team of over 15 licensed therapists.
It's a solid team.
It is. We're talking licensed clinical social workers,
Yeah.
licensed professional counselors, licensed marriage and family therapists. They specialize in exactly the root causes we just unpacked: anxiety, depression, trauma, PTSD, grief, stress, and relationship issues.
But for me, the most vital part of the CHC model, especially in the context of anhedonia, is how they handle the logistics of care.
Yes, the logistics are huge here.
Think about the friction of a traditional therapy appointment. You have to wake up, get dressed, get in a car, sit in traffic, find parking, walk into a building, and sit in a waiting room.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
If you have motivational anhedonia, that is an insurmountable mountain of steps. The starter motor is broken.
It is the ultimate paradox of mental health care.
Yeah.
The sicker you are, the harder it is to physically navigate the gauntlet required to access the building where the cure is located.
Such a good point. But CHC entirely bypasses that gauntlet. They provide individual, couples, family, and teen therapy for ages 13 and up, along with life coaching via a 100% HIPAA compliant telehealth model.
Completely secure video therapy.
Right. And because they're licensed across the state, they reach all 159 counties in Georgia. You don't have to navigate traffic. You just have to open your laptop.
which is life-changing.
For someone with motivational anhedonia, removing that physical commute isn't just a perk of the modern world, it is a vital medical accommodation. It might be the only reason they actually make it to the appointment.
That lowering of the barrier is crucial, and they apply that exact same logic to the financial barriers too.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that.
The sources note that for Medicaid patients, CHC has eliminated copays entirely. It is a $0 copay.
That's amazing.
And for most other major insurance plans, they accept Aetna, Cigna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, and Humana. The copay ranges from just $10 to $40 a session.
So they're actively removing the financial friction that usually stops people in their tracks.
Exactly.
And just so you have it, if you or someone you know in Georgia is listening to this and relating a little too much to that unplugged TV feeling, you can explore their resources at chctherapy.com or by email at support@chctherapy.com.
And they have a phone number too, right?
Yes, you can just call them directly at 404-832-0102. The scaffolding is out there, and it's structurally designed to meet you where you are, literally in your own home.
It really emphasizes how modern telehealth has evolved. It's not just about convenience anymore.
No, not at all.
For conditions characterized by intense internal friction, like anhedonia, telehealth is a necessary structural intervention.
It's been quite a journey today.
It really has.
For you listening, we've walked through a complete redefinition of depression, moving way past that culturally ingrained crying in bed stereotype to understand the very real, very paralyzing flatness of anhedonia.
We really had to break that stereotype down.
I did. We looked at the neurobiological breakdown of pleasure, understanding the profound difference between consummatory anhedonia, where the liking pathway fails in the moment, and motivational anhedonia, where your anticipatory starter motor is completely stripped.
We also unpacked the systemic blind spots.
Right, the intake forms.
We explored why those standard intake forms fail patients by only calibrating for active distress, like a broken metal detector.
Such a dangerous blind spot.
And we saw why identifying the actual root cause, whether that's major depressive disorder, nervous system shutdown of PTSD, or dopamine depletion in Parkinson's, is the absolute only way to build an effective treatment scaffold.
And finally, we saw how practices like CHC are utilizing telehealth models to physically and financially lower the barrier to these critical therapies, utilizing tools like microstep behavioral activation and CBT to slowly rebuild those neural pathways.
That's incredible work they're doing.
It really is. But before we sign off, I know you usually have a thought you want to leave us with.
I do. This raises an important question, something for you to mull over as you go about your week.
Let's hear it.
We established that our medical screening tools completely miss this condition because they are so heavily weighted toward outward distress and tears.
Yeah.
But let's apply that beyond the doctor's office. Let's look at society at large. Our culture is completely focused on the outward performance of emotion.
Oh, absolutely.
We expect people to smile, to engage, to say they're fine when asked. So how many people in our own lives, maybe even the people we work with or live under the same roof with, are currently walking around in a state of complete consummatory anhedonia?
Wow.
They are showing up. They are doing the work. They are smiling on command. But internally, they are experiencing absolute zero joy.
Just going through the motions.
Right. And they are suffering in total silence simply because they and we don't have the vocabulary to recognize that profound, quiet emptiness as the medical crisis it actually is.
That is heavy, but it is so deeply necessary to think about. We're always so desperate for the clarity of an X-ray, looking for the jagged white line so we know exactly how to fix the broken bone.
Exactly.
But human emotion, the fundamental capacity for joy, isn't a bone. When the TV gets unplugged, the diagnostic landscape gets incredibly murky, but just because we can't see the break doesn't mean the person isn't hurting.
That's extremely well said.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the world around you, keep looking past the obvious, and we will catch you on the next one.